All right, hey my friends, Jeff Yalden here. I wanted to share with you my new school assembly. I've been doing this for 28 years. It's taken me probably 28 years to come up with what I'm about to share with you. Now my friends, I want you to understand, when I come into a school, there's a degree of from 1 to a 10, 1 being low mental health, suicidal ideation, to 10 being crisis mode. So that's the depth of I'm going into it versus it's more, motivation, mental health, and self-esteem, resiliency, and grit. This new program is more on the depth, but it's not about crisis. This is more about how our teens are feeling, why they're feeling that way, and as a result, what they are doing when they lack coping skills and problem-solving skills or a trusted adult in their life that they can talk to. So my friends, let's get right into it. So during the day, I spend a lot of one-on-one time with kids that want to come up and chat. And during that conversation, I like to listen. And I often ask the question, are you venting and you just want me to listen because I'm happy to do that? Or do you want my opinion? I've come to find that when you answer two questions. Number 1, can I trust you? Number 2, do you care about me? When you answer those two questions, teens, youth, whoever it might be, feel more comfortable in sharing. And the more safe they feel, the more non-judged and unconditionally supported, the more they're going to share with you. And here's what I find out. My friends, number 1, I don't even ask until I start to realize that they're saying this. They feel alone, which basically means that they don't have meaningful relationships. Simple. I'm going to get to why this is in a little bit. Usually when they feel alone, they feel like they're a disappointment, or maybe they don't want to burden people with their problems. Again, there's a reason for this. This disappointment, they start to feel like they serve as a liability, whether it's to themselves, their parents, their friends, their teachers. Basically, they think that they don't make any contribution to the world. And young people today just think that they're going to make some impact. And when they feel like they're a disappointment, they feel like they're not living up to the expectations that is given to them. Okay, so I used to go from here to, okay, there's sadness, there's unhealthy thoughts, there's unhealthy feelings, and I would ask the question. And the question I would ask is simply this. Do you want to die? Do you have a plan? What would it look like if you weren't here? And why haven't you done it yet? Now, my friends, you might be alarmed. Like, whoa, Jeff, these are pretty strong, direct questions. With young people, don't sugarcoat it. And one of the myths is, if you're thinking about asking the question, then you're giving them ideas, you're planting seeds. The reality is, if you're thinking about asking the question, they've already thought about it. And one of the most important things that you can do is intervene immediately. I'll tell you something. After every conversation, one-on-one with someone, I ask this. Now that you talked a little bit, do you feel a little bit better in that you got it off your chest and you felt like you were able to share? I've never had someone say no. They feel better when they're able to release. My friends, what you don't speak out, you're going to act out. And if you're going to act it out, the consequences could be troublesome. So, I want you to understand that when I ask this and I ask this, and I'm developing the relationship, they feel safe, they know I care, and they feel that they can trust me. My friends, right here is where I'm concerned. This right here is what they do as a result of their feelings. Thoughts are thoughts, like an arm is an arm, my leg is a leg. Thoughts are just what they are. They're thoughts. But we need to be able to teach our young people that you can't bottle up these feelings. Because if you do, you're going to manifest itself and they're going to appear at some point in your life. And when your responsibilities are greater, obligations are bigger, and it appears then, those consequences are greater than if you were to deal with your rejection, abandonment, the trauma, whatever you've been through in life. It's okay to talk. It's okay to not be okay. But it's not okay to not be okay and not talk to someone about it. That's primarily what I want our young people to understand. Who is your trusted adult? Who can you go to? When can you go to them? And if you don't, self-harm becomes a way that our young people are coping. Now, here's what I like about self-harm. Whoa, did he just say he likes self-harm? Before you go there, hold on. When I ask young people why, here's what they tell me. They want to be able to feel, and they want control. I like that, because otherwise I meet a lot of young people that they're emotionless. They feel like they've lost all control. They can't even think. And so I call that growing up dead. And so when someone tells me they want to feel, they want control, they're telling me they want help, they just don't know how to get it. So, self-harm, they want feelings, they want to be able to control the situation, but without asking for help, they're going about it in an unhealthy way. They're coping in an unhealthy way. And the more they continue coping in an unhealthy way, the deeper it gets, whether it's cutting or whether it's self-medicating, it's reckless behavior, it's pulling your hair, it's punching yourself, it's scratching, clawing, it's anger, it's banging your head against the wall. My concern is if we don't intervene here, they're going to continue going down that path. What I want them to understand is intervene at this point, and when I say I like it, here's what I mean. It's the unhealthy way of coping, but we're recognizing it. You want help. And so I want you to stop right there and think, I'm not dealing with this in a healthy manner. I need to talk to someone. And the more we can do that, the easier it becomes to lower the wall and to open our heart and lose our ego and find someone to open up to. And friends, if you're a friend of someone that knows that they're struggling, you have a responsibility. If you see something, say something. If you know something, do something. My concern is simply this, cutting. I want to tell you why young people cut. One of my biggest concerns is if young people are cutting, and the more they do it, and they're not asking for help, here's what happens. When you start cutting just a little bit, it starts real lightly. But the more you do it, the more tolerable this pain becomes. So that negates the, I don't want to take my life because it would hurt too much. You keep going down this wrong path of coping in an unhealthy manner. Then the deeper you get, the higher you get, the more you're in your negative thoughts. What then happens is blood appears as you break skin. And when that happens, you get an endorphin effect like a runner gets running. And you get this like fear, you're scared. What do people see? You're going to feel more disappointed. But if we don't intervene, we don't ask for help, then my concern is the longer it goes, the deeper it gets. Then all of a sudden, I'm afraid that many young people start justifying that people would be better off without them. That their life is better gone than it is now because they don't have to feel the pain and they don't have to be a burden to someone. So that's cutting, my friends. The other thing is self-medicating. We're talking about vaping today. We're talking about juuling. We're talking about drinking. We're talking about pot. We're talking about meth. Now we got meth 2.0. We got heroin. We got fentanyl. We got carfentanil. We are at a crisis in our country with people self-medicating. What I want to say here is simply this. They want to feel, they want control. So they're self-medicating to avoid having to deal with these feelings and thoughts. And so here's what I say to them. If I can help you get the same effect that you're getting self-medicating, but I can do it in a healthy way instead of your unhealthy coping way, would you be interested in that? Undoubtedly, all of our people say, well, yeah. The problem is they don't know how. They don't know who. They don't trust people. They think that you're going to try and fix it. You're not going to validate their thoughts and their feelings. You're not going to be unconditionally supportive. They're afraid that you might call their parents. They might call the police. Our young people need to have a platform that is safe where they can go to and not feel judged. Part of this disappointment I want to get to later is one of the reasons why they're feeling that way. In the meantime, the disappointment, here's the self-harm that is deeply concerning. And the question afterwards, when this is yes, this is yes, this is yes, the question is, do you want to die? Now, I don't think teens want to die. I think part of the problem is, and it's not their fault, we live in the here and the now. But life is not in the here and the now. Think about it. You go to an ATM, you put in a card, you get cash. You send a text. All of a sudden, mom or dad have nothing else to do but to respond to your text right away. You post a selfie and you get likes. Life is not in the here and the now. But many of our young people, alone on the burden, the self-harm, they start to think that the solution to their problems is so far out in the distance that they can't handle it in the here and the now. What does that mean? They might have to shut down their social media. They might have to just be patient and breathe. They might have to just take a time out. They might have to spend time talking to someone and separating themselves from the drama. That is too much. And so what happens is many of our youth suicides today is an emotional reaction to something that they think has gone wrong and it can't be fixed in the here and the now. The major problem I'm seeing with young people, their self-esteem, lack of coping skills, and problem-solving skills. One of the other things I'm seeing in young people a lot is they are having to live making adult decisions and adult responsibilities. There's two things I think when it comes to our young people. Number one, don't put them in positions where they do not have control. Number two, don't ask of our young people to be in adult positions where they have to make adult decisions and assume adult responsibilities. Okay, the second part here is behavioral activation. What this simply is this. Teens do this. They isolate themselves. They spend a lot of time on social media, watching Netflix. They go home, they go to their room. Teens don't come home from school and say, Mom, Dad, I had a bad day, can we talk? No, they isolate themselves just wishing that somebody would acknowledge them. And so as a result of isolation, they start to feel sad. Now, I'm not necessarily saying depression. I think depression has become one of the words that is easily used today. Now, there's a difference. They could be sad. Being sad is okay. Being sad for a long period of time are red flags that we probably need to address. Parents, take your kid to the doctor. Make an appointment with a counselor. Call the school. Do not concern yourself with your reputation and let that be more important than the well-being of your child. Okay, so isolation, sad. If you continue doing this cycle, nothing changes. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So, break the cycle, stop doing this, I want you to do this. My friends, do more of what makes you feel good. Do more of what you like. Get involved. Because the more you do what you like, the more you feel good about doing what you're doing, the better you feel. And so we change this cycle, we start to engage in this cycle. And this cycle has a lot to do with your self-care, a routine, learning to say no, having balance and boundaries in your life. So you are taking control. You're controlling the feelings. This is fundamental mental health psychology. Now, I'm not saying that this takes care of what could be diagnosed as depression or bipolar or schizophrenia, but this here can help you with your anxiety. Maybe you have dysthymia, which is a very low-level depression. This can help you in everyday life. Okay, so what I'm saying here, change your behavior. That's problem-solving skills. This is coping in a healthy way. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, my friends, so the next slide is talking about our smartphone devices, social media, the internet. Now listen, I don't think it's the kids' fault. What I've seen is that technology has become something that is here to stay. It's great, makes our lives easier, well, in a way, but we've given our young people these devices when, in common terms, the maturity of their brain has not developed, and it doesn't develop till they're about 24, 25 years old. So what happens is there's this chemical called dopamine, and what happens is when these notifications goes off, it releases that dopamine, and it says to a teenager, you want more, you want more, you want more. So essentially with these devices, we're telling young people who are not capable of making adult decisions, but we're telling them to act in an adult way where you should know better, and if you should know better, do better, but they're not capable. So with our teens isolating themselves, they're spending a lot of time on Netflix, they're on social media, Instagram and Snapface, and they're group texting. If you spend 4 or 5 hours or more a day on your device, you're 70% more likely to have major depression in your life. The safe zone, well, I think it depends on the individual. Some individuals are more mature in they're able to make healthier decisions, and some individuals, the dopamine effect is stronger than their will to say, I need to put this down because I've got other things to attend to. So I think it depends on the individual, but safely I'd say 1 to 3 hours. That's the safe zone. The isolation and comparison. My friends, here's what I want to get back to as I talk about isolation and comparison. When I'm talking about alone, they're spending a lot of time on the device. And so they're alone. They're spending a lot of time on the device. Now they start to feel like they're a disappointment. Watch this. The more they're on their devices, the more they're comparing their life to what they see out there. And they start to think that in comparison, their life doesn't match up to the perfect life that they see out there. And they can't really decipher that this is fake, this is one of 100 pictures that was taken, that was filtered, that was photoshopped. They just see it, they believe it, and they compare, leading them to think that, well, I'm just disappointed because I don't match up. I don't look like other people. My life isn't as fun as other people. So negative thoughts, negative thought pattern, we're not asking for help, we're not learning how to cope, we're not understanding that this is not the way you should be thinking. So that concerns me. There's 3 things that I think are really important for young people. Number 1, sleep. Young people need 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and if your kid's ugly, they need more. Well, did he just say kids are ugly? No, listen. Before kids go to bed, they spend about 2.5 hours a night on Instagram and Snapface. So this 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep is now broken up because they go to bed with their phone, notifications go off, they wake up, and all of a sudden it's like, OMG, he said that, SMH, she did that, oh, group text, don't miss school, it's going down tomorrow. The dopamine effect, I want more, I want more, I want more. So now they got maybe a solid 3 or 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So when I say ugly, I'm talking about their attitude, because mom or dad says, good morning, honey. And the child says, really? How about shut up forever? So that's what I'm saying about sleep. Nutrition. I think it's important to understand sugar and depression are best friends. What our kids need, more water, less soda, more protein, less carbs. Fundamentals of nutrition. The third thing, put the device down and get more involved doing things you like. Understand again, my friends, as great as this is, it's having a negative effect on the overall mental well-being of our young people, where they're starting to isolate themselves and they spend more time doing time on their phone, being alone, when they should be getting involved in doing things that improve life skills, such as teamwork, communication, coping skills, problem-solving skills, working out your differences. That is why getting involved is important. So less time here, more time here, that improves self-esteem. Okay, Jeff, this is all good. This is great, wonderful. But what do we do now? Very simple. I think, number one, we need to do more programs in our schools. Parents need to be better advocates. Parents need to parent on the front end where they used to, and not on the back end where they're having to make up for what they should have done on the front end. I think it's okay that our young people have someone to talk to. I think it's okay that we teach them coping skills and problem-solving skills. But fundamentally, in the here and the now where kids live, I'll tell you something I think is important. It changed my life. And that is simply an attitude of gratitude. You know, a couple weeks ago, I was speaking in a community. And at the end of the day, I didn't get to meet all the kids that were on the list. So I was there for 2 days. On the second day, 2 girls came in early. And they came to the guidance counselor. They were in tears. They were in tears because they didn't get a chance to talk to Jeff. So the counselor says to me, hey, Jeff, listen, there's 2 girls here and they really want to talk to you. Do you have time to talk to them before school? Well, absolutely. So I sit down with the girls individually. I kind of ask them, so, hey man, thanks for wanting to talk to me. What is it that you want to talk about? Both of them identically had the same problem. They were 2 girls in the 9th grade, and they found themselves feeling sad, isolated. They're feeling their disappointment. They don't want to bother people with their problems. And we discovered that this was coming from low self-esteem as a result of what they're seeing on their devices and social media. They're comparing their lives and they're jealous of what they see. So I said to both girls, here's what I want you to do. Instead of being jealous and comparing your life to someone else's, I'll give you the whole day. I want you today to write me a list of 10 things throughout the day. And every single one of them is going to be something that you're grateful for, something that you appreciate. And instead of you being jealous at something and wish you had, I want you to change it, and I want you to applaud and appreciate what that is. I want the exact opposite emotion. I gave them all day to do it. And so at the end of the day, I'm in the library. Both girls came up to me and they gave me their list. Do you know that either of the girls were able to give me 10 things? One gave me 5 and the other one gave me 7. I don't think we appreciate enough. I feel that young people think the world owes them something. And so, my friends, as a man that lives with mental illness, I'm diagnosed with major depression, bipolar type 2, and post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm proud of that. And I'll tell you why I'm proud. I'm proud of it for the same reason that I want to tell you. When you can acknowledge that something's not right and that you're part of the problem, when you can accept it and open your heart and not want to live this way, it's going to be one of the greatest decisions you've ever made. Because you can live with mental illness, anxiety. You can learn to cope and problem solve through the expectations and this overwhelming feeling that is plaguing you and debilitating you. But you got to be willing to ask for help. But in the meantime, I want to share with you things that I do that's a game changer every day. And you got to do it every day because it's like taking a bath. If you don't take a bath, you smell, you don't feel good. You take a bath or shower, you smell good, you feel clean. That's the same thing as self-care. So one of the things I've learned to do, thank you. I try and say thank you 25 times a day. And what you end up finding out is you're saying thank you for the littlest of things. People opening the door for you, people stopping, letting you cross the street. You start thanking your parents for a nice dinner or making you lunch or dropping you off. The other thing I do, instead of expectations that bring disappointment, I try and replace the expectations with more appreciation. Again, thank you. 10 things a day, like I talked about these two girls. I want you to write 10 things a day that you're grateful for. And again, it's kind of like the thank you, but now you're putting it on paper, and here's the challenge. No day can be a repeat of the day before. Yeah, you think, oh, Jeff, that's easy. Try it, my friends. And I promise you, you'll start appreciating little things. I want to give you a couple books. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, great book. Miracle Morning by my friend Hal Elrod, outstanding book. Also routine, this is part of your self-care. Get into exercise, do something, get the blood flowing, get your endorphins up. Self-care. Self-care is not selfish. I think not practicing self-care is selfish because the more you take care of you, the better you're able to take care of others and be a good friend, a good son, good daughter, a good teammate. Essential oils. Listen, I think essential oils are important. I take a peppermint shower every day. I have my orange, just, smells good. It relaxes me. Time management. I think that's something that we can all improve on. Balance and boundaries in your life, such as the smartphone, social media. Say no. My friends, you don't have to be everywhere, doing everything. Say no. My friends, learn to say no to things that you're going to do that's going to cause anxiety. You're going to be overwhelmed, and as a result of doing what you didn't want to do or you knew you shouldn't have done, you probably should have said no in the beginning than going through it and have to suffer the consequences of the feelings afterwards. So my friends, that's basically it. I wanted to share this with you in a nutshell. I want you to visit my website, www.jeffyalden.com. I'm on YouTube and social media at Jeff Yalden. Please visit me. If you want me to come to your school community, hey man, reach out to us. I'd love to come to your community and help you and your staff and your teachers and your counselors build the bridge that brings our young people closer to their trusted adults. And I want to leave a disclaimer. My friends, I never want to come to a community and leave pieces that we have to pick up. I don't like coming to a community and seeing people cry, but I think sometimes getting people to feel and recognize that something is not wrong, and to be able to be the guy that builds the bridge and says it's okay to talk. And this way, they're on our radar. We can get them the help that they need. We can talk. We can teach them better coping skills and problem-solving skills. And I think as a school community, we have a better understanding of the depth of the emotions and the brokenness of our kids and our community. And when we can do that, everything changes. The climate, our school culture, our young people, discipline, behaviors, relationships. Thank you so much, my friends. Take care, and remember, I love you.